It's time for Where Hollywood Hides. Here's Bob and Suzanne.
Chicken joke!
I'm Mrs. Cleaver.
From Television City in Hollywood.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller plays.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology. Nanu.
Baby, you're the great.
Here comes the judge.
More cowbell.
Not special.
There's anything wrong with that?
And now for something completely different.
There's no business like show business like
Welcome to Where Hollywood Hides, podcast episode number 21. My name is Bob McCullough.
And this is Suzanne Herrera-McCullough.
Today we're really excited. We have an interview with Ron Friedman, one of the most prolific and celebrated television writers of all time. You're going to find Ron is nonstop hilarity, very much a crack-up.
He and his wife have been very good friends of ours for a long time.
Right. Hey, before we get started today, I just want to let everybody know today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com, where you can get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial just by going to audibletrial.com/wherehollywoodhides.com. They have over 150,000 titles. The one I'm going to get next is the Keith Richards autobiography called Life. It's narrated by none other than Johnny Depp. It's 23 hours long, and you can get that for free just by signing up.
Wow, that's a long book.
Yeah, it must be, but it's certainly a great value if you can get that thing for free.
I hear Mick wasn't too happy about that book. Do you think that's true?
I don't know. You know, the reviews didn't mention anything about that, but I'm sure that...
Well, of course not. They want you to buy the book.
The story of the Rolling Stones is pretty dramatic, I'm sure.
How cool. Lots of news today.
Oh, yeah?
Well, lots of news all week. Everybody's talking about Barbara Walters retiring.
Baba Wawa.
After 53 years. And, of course, they're already talking about who's going to replace her on The View.
Are you available?
Well, I didn't want to say it, but I could
You should
be
send in your
available.
audition tape. Who else are they thinking about?
They're thinking about Robin Roberts.
She has a job.
Yes, well, she probably would like another job. I don't know. Megyn Kelly, she has a job on Fox.
You think she would work there?
I'm not sure.
They have to fit into the team
I have no
thing.
comment. Ellen DeGeneres. Which,
she has a job too.
Yes.
She'd be great practically at anything, it seems to
And
me.
Katie Couric.
Okay, they need to kind of keep looking, don't they?
Moving on,
Uh-huh.
Do you remember ever meeting Barbara Walters with me?
I think it was at a rap party for Falcon Crest or something.
And Merv Adelson, who recently had married Barbara Walters, it was a very big deal. They were the Hollywood couple.
Right, Merv was the owner of Lorimar Productions, which was a huge...
Along with Lee Rich.
Yeah, it was a huge big deal at the time.
Anyway, they made a surprise appearance at the rap party, and she and Merv Adelson were married from 81 to 84.
That's almost a quickie.
Actually, it was a long marriage in Hollywood.
Right.
But they were a great-looking couple.
Yeah.
And I remember when meeting her, she was a very, very nice person.
Was she?
She was very sincere, whether she meant it or not. She was a very nice person. She wore a great-looking pantsuit. I remember that.
Come on, you remember what she was wearing?
Yes. Her hair was kind of blondish.
Oh my gosh, the stuff that women remember.
Anyway, she looked fabulous, and I was very impressed because it was Barbara Walters.
My guess is you look fabulous too.
Thank you. Also in the news, the Cannes Film Festival is in the middle of its week.
A lot of media about that.
But one of the big news items and pictures all over the place is Sophia Loren has made a few appearances.
Ooh la la.
And the big talk is she's going to be 80 this year.
Wow.
And she looks really good for 80.
I was going to say she's probably the hottest 80-year-old around.
Probably. And she looked very comfortable with the young man that she was with.
Uh-huh.
Happens to be her son.
Oh, that's a safe bet.
Yes, he's very attractive. Eduardo Ponti, who is a director in Rome.
Oh, so he's probably got a picture going on or something?
They look very, very great together. In 1960, I remember seeing my very first Sophia Loren film, and it was very traumatic for me. And it was called Two Women, and it's considered her best motion picture ever.
Was that in English?
I don't remember. I just remember the visuals, and
yeah.
it took place in World War II, and it's a story about a young woman and her 12-year-old daughter. It was so traumatic for me personally that as a little girl, I said to myself, I'm never going to Europe because who knows what might happen over there.
They're bombing the place.
That's right. It was pretty traumatic for me.
Well,
Then, they had Sophia Loren with the blouse. and
Suzanne, it was a movie, okay?
I know. That was my first vivid memory of Sophia Loren. So we have this great interview with Ron Friedman.
Right, let's get started.
Okay.
Here we go.
Here's Ronnie. We are sitting here with the Friedmans.
At Cafe Roma in Beverly Hills.
Been here.
I used to be Ron Friedman, and now I'm thinking of a name change, something catchy and maybe familiar. All right, ask anything because I intend to lie.
Okay. One of the reasons we really wanted to talk to you is that you are among the most prolific television writers.
Oh, he's blushing. He's blushing.
No, I'm not. I know it's true.
Is it not true?
It is true, yeah.
I think your IMDb page references 700 credits.
It is.
Tell us how you started. You were actually an architect at one time.
I was, and I began in this way. I always loved show business, writing, movies, reading, painting, drawing.
So you became an architect because you had all these affinities.
I was able to get a lot of college scholarships because my father died when I was 11, my brother was 9, and we were poor. I mean, a can of bumblebee salmon, that was like dinner for 3 on a good night.
And what state was this?
We lived in Weirton, West Virginia, where my father had a haberdashery, a men's clothing store. But he died suddenly, and there we were.
Very
my mother,
traumatic.
Concert pianist, and an opera singer.
In West Virginia.
Big demand in West Virginia.
I was going to say.
And this town in West Virginia called Weirton, home of Weir Steel, was described thusly: if you give Pennsylvania an enema, you stick the bone in Weirton. And it was accurate. But
Okay,
anyway,
so you lose your dad,
Right.
and you're in.
we moved immediately to Pittsburgh, which is where my mother's father,
Okay.
my grandfather, was a great guy, lived with 7 of his 8 children, my mother being the oldest of 8, and to help us get settled. And so when it came time to graduate high school, my mother said, "You need something to fall back on." Well, painting, acting, writing, you don't fall back on that.
No.
Right.
But I found out later, I always had something to fall back on, my ass. And when you fall back on it, you get up.
Right.
So
That's right.
it took me a while to realize that, but architecture, I was told, was a wedding of art and science. They didn't tell me it was a shotgun wedding, and I had the misfortune of reading The Fountainhead.
Right.
And I thought, I'll be an architect, I'll get laid. Well, the first woman I met in the architectural department was Andy Warhol's mother, who was a cleaning lady. And she looked just like Andy, same hairdo.
Is this true?
True.
Andy Warhol's mother?
Mrs. Warhol.
Okay.
She
All
was
right.
only there briefly. I don't
Okay.
know why.
All right.
Maybe the chicken farm that the other son
All
had
right.
had a bad laying season, but whatever
Okay.
it was. And the girls there really looked like the guys, except they wore the pastel lumber jackets. This
Right.
is Pittsburgh. Anyway, took architecture. I loved it. And I really pushed loving it. So I was working as an architect my first summer.
So you went all the way through architecture school.
Oh, yeah.
So you're a working architect.
I am.
What's the transition from being a working architect to being a selling writer?
Well, at the time, I thought it was this. On my best year, when I'm working 7 days a week and doing government work like post offices, really a thrilling encounter, I gotta tell you. What I told myself was the following. With all that effort, I couldn't clear $10,000 a year. My kids were burdened. I knew I couldn't pay for an education for them because I couldn't clear the 10 grand every year. It depended on me working 7 days a week, working hard. So I thought, what do I want to do? What can I do that maybe will pay more? And I thought, I might be able to write for television or write for a comedian. And I met Shelley Berman, who was then breaking through as a comic.
I want to ask you, you are truly one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Oh,
Did
thank
you know you were funny? Were you funny
Always.
in these days of being an architect?
Always. And I found out quickly that a lot of clients didn't have a sense of humor.
So you always had a sense of humor, and that's what got you.
And I knew it was valued,
Right.
and I thought maybe I'll capitalize on it. So I wrote some stuff, called Shelley Berman, who was appearing at the Vogue Terrace, which was a classy nightclub in or outside of Pittsburgh.
Did you know anything about show business?
Oh, I'd worked in summer stock in theater.
Okay. So you were on stage as a kid?
Yep.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it, but I needed something to fall back on. So I'm an architect. So I figured, Shelley Berman, you remember me? I said, look, I think I can write for you. He says, really? Is that right? I write all my own stuff. I said, I know you do. That's why you're funny. But I think I can. He says, all right. There's my address, schmuck. Send me something. I sent him something. 3 months later, I get a call. Schmuck, you can write this shit. Come to New York. I'm on the Perry Como show next week, and I'll get you an agent. So I made arrangements at the office with my people whose work I was doing to be out of town for a week, and I fly to New York. That was my first flight. It was memorable because 1960 was the year the Pittsburgh Pirates won the pennant, and I was a big Pirates fan. And it was right then in the fall when the World Series was taking place. And I didn't want to miss it because I loved the Pirates. But I was on a plane going to New York, and Joe Garagiola, who was catching for the Pirates, was going home to visit his family for the day and a half that he had off. And as we're sitting there across from each other, I didn't know him.
Oh, he was on the same plane.
Same plane. So as we're sitting there, a woman says to the stewardess who's walking down, stewardess, the engine is on fire. And the stewardess says, oh no ma'am, oh fuck, and she read the engine was on fire. And the stewardess ran to the back of the plane and put her in.
Oh great.
And Garagiola said, I'm too young and handsome to die.
Oh my God.
The plane went back to Pittsburgh and the motor that was on fire fell off. So we waited. I thought this might be an omen.
Don't leave Pittsburgh.
Under no circumstances.
Right.
Or start walking now.
And that's your first plane flight?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you would get on a plane again.
I had to see Shelley Berman. I go to the Ziegfeld Theater, which is where they filmed the Perry Como show. Pass for me at the door. I go backstage, and Shelley is sort of wound up in a corner. And he says, I'm having a nervous breakdown and going to Jamaica. I can't talk to you now. I said, but I just came in from Pittsburgh. He said, it'll be there when you return. Can't argue with logic like that. But here's where I got lucky. My fraternity brother, Gary Smith, later one of the most celebrated television producers of all time, was the scene designer for the Como show. And he saw what happened. He said, look, you brought all this material for Shelley to read? I said, yeah. He said, let me give it to the head writer, Goody Ace. Now, Goodman Ace was a celebrated radio writer whose show was Easy Aces. I was told to wait, and Ace actually read some of the stuff then and there, and he came out. He says, come here. And he took me over to the writer's room. He said, you see those guys? If any of these Jews die, I'll give you a job.
Are you kidding? That's what he said?
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. He said, but let me call Larry Auerbach at William Morris, and he'll sign you.
Well, you've got to be excited at this point.
I was delirious.
You've got to be thinking, I'm never going back to Pittsburgh.
I saw Larry Auerbach. He says, Goody thinks you're great, so you must be okay. Larry says, you can't out of Pittsburgh. Nobody in Pittsburgh reads. He says, you got to be here in New York. Come to New York, and I'll sign you. He said, but I'm not signing you to sit in Pittsburgh. You're going to have to come to New York. So I went back to Pittsburgh, arranged to sell my practice for $11. But I went to New York,
Right.
and I was able to negotiate a modest rent, like 4 times what it was in Pittsburgh.
Of course.
In Brooklyn Heights. And what really sold me was New York. I love New York. I'm looking for a place to stay, trying to find a place. So I went to the Promenade, which is a wonderful feature of Brooklyn Heights. If you saw Moonstruck, that's where Cher's family lived, with a view of the East River and the Statue of Liberty. And I saw 2 old ladies sitting at a park bench, and I said, excuse me, I just am moving in from Pittsburgh. Do you know any apartments for rent? And she says, what do I look like, honey? A fucking real estate agent? And I thought, my kind of town. The first job I got was writing a comedy album for a black comic named Timmy Rogers. The name doesn't ring a bell.
No, it doesn't.
He was famous as Mr. Oh yeah, oh no, oh yeah, oh no. thanks to Timmy, I met a lot of black comics. It was a way into the business. At the end of that first year, I ended up making more than 10 times what I'd ever made in my best year as an actor.
You must have been
Which
feeling pretty
inspires
good.
one to redirect a career quickly.
Yes. Now I'm thinking of organ donator.
So you're in New York, and you're starting to sell some material.
I did. And for the first time in my life since my father died, I had enough money to buy dinner out.
Big change.
Big change. Big. I knew.
So you were primarily, you broke in really as a comedy variety writer.
Yeah. Comedy writer first. Because, show business, in case you didn't notice, is a business of stereotyping. So if you wrote a joke once and somebody remembers it, you're a comedy writer, you're a joke writer, which means that's all you can do. So each time I had to change my employment profile, I had to prove to somebody that I could do what they would hire me to do. So as a joke writer, and I also would do stand-up when the comics wouldn't pay me. It would work like this. I'd write the material, usually $3,000 to $10,000, depending on the length of the act, which wasn't bad money in 1961.
Oh, for sure.
It's good money.
And very often the comic would say, this isn't funny. And I would say, this is funny. They say, you do it. So I do it. I get big laughs. And they pay me then and there. I would often get a call afterwards saying, I'm doing a material. I'm doing it up here in Toronto. It's not getting any laughs. I said, that's because it's about New York, schmuck. It's a New York act. Yeah, but Toronto's a city too. They should relate. I said, be sure to tell them that at the next
Explain
city booster meeting.
as you explain the jokes.
He
Right.
said, well, I'm not getting any laughs. You got laughs. I said, that's because I'm funny and that's because you suck. They didn't always appreciate that, but it was true.
How endearing of you. Yeah.
Yes, well, this was not a business where kindness ruled, because nightclubs was where comics were. If you'd ever been in a nightclub in the 60s or the 50s, the idea of a nightclub was you're going to get drunk and laid, not necessarily in that order. And if somebody could make you laugh, meanwhile, that was okay. But if they didn't make you laugh, it was fine to kill them. In fact, I remember seeing Phil Foster at the Club Elegant in Brooklyn, where I had a lesser comic following him on the bill, and a guy was heckling him. Hey, Foster, Phil, go fuck yourself. Hey, please, sir, I have the stage. This is my act. Hey, Foster, you're terrible. I'm funny. And Foster took the microphone and split the guy's head open with one blow. As he's spouting blood and the mafia waiters are carrying him out, Phil continues with his act. So like I was saying, I get back to the old neighborhood. Sensitivity, forget it. So I did that. I was successful at it. I wrote comedy albums. I wrote an album for the Smothers Brothers called Think Ethnic. And one of them was Tommy Smothers goes, soap, 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 soap. And Dickie Smothers says, what are you doing? He says, I'm just singing a few bars. Anyway, the album sold heavily. Suddenly, I wasn't getting the checks I should get for having authored so many of the bands. I called my agent, same agent as Smothers Brothers, William Morris' office. I said, look at my contract. They said, we can't find it. They conveniently lost my contract to keep their big buddy.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Anyway,
Welcome to show business.
welcome to show business. That sounds like I'm unhappy. I'm not unhappy.
No. You're describing the reality of the business at the time, and perhaps as it even is today, that
Oh, definitely.
it's
The big name client holds sway over the lesser name client.
right.
It always will.
Always will.
So how long did you stay in New York?
Almost 4 years, but what happened was serendipity in one way. In 1963, I was doing an album for Vaughn Meader. Vaughn Meader was famous for being from New England and being able to impersonate Jack Kennedy perfectly. Let me give you a judgment on that. You know. And his albums, The First Family,
They were huge.
they were enormous. Anyway, he wanted me to write him a new album where he could play Kennedy and not be First Family. As I'm working on the album with him in November of 1963, the news comes out, John F. Kennedy has been assassinated, he's dead. So while I'm clutching my heart and thinking, oh no, he's saying my act has been killed. Anyway, after about 5-6 months, he says, I gotta come back. People still love it, but I won't do him unless I do a memory thing. He said, but I need a new act. So I wrote him an act. And Shelley Berman showed up. Hadn't seen Shelley since he told me, I can't talk to you now, schmuck. I'm here," in a tuxedo to introduce Vaughn and introduce me. Danny Kaye was in the audience. Danny Kaye told Perry Lafferty, his producer, I want this guy.
This guy being whoever wrote the material.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have an offer to write the Danny Kaye show and go to California. And I'd been to California. I hated California. The William Morris office put me up at the Chateau Marmont Hotel, a legendary place.
Famous place.
Yeah. It's still one of the weirdest flea bags I've ever seen. And here's what happened my first night in the Chateau Marmont. In the middle of the night, I hear a voice, Tony Curtis, Tony Curtis, Tony Curtis. I wake up, I look around, I open the window. Tony Curtis, Tony. What the hell is this? I close the window, no air conditioning. So I'm going to sweat all night, but I can't keep it. Tony Curtis. In the morning, I went down to see the desk clerk, who was a woman formerly from the Weimar Republic, with a cigarette holder and a whiskey voice.
Right.
And I said, this is going to sound crazy, but I was awakened in the middle of the night by a voice saying, Tony Curtis, Tony. She says, come with me. So I go to this elevator, which is right out of a French mystery movie. And she says, do you know who Deborah Paget is? I said, yes, she's a Jewish girl that plays Indians. She said, well, her mother has a suite here. I said, she says, come here. She's not in. She takes me to the suite and out to the balcony. There are bird cages, 9 bird cages. Each one has a hood over it. And she picks a hood off one and says, Anthony Quinn, Anthony Quinn. And she puts the hood down. She said, each bird has a star name. Tony's hood blew away.
So Deborah Paget was an avian freak?
That's what I thought. I didn't know. Anyway.
Well, it was nice of her to take you and to
explain
show
it.
you and to explain.
Yes, but that was stunning.
This is your introduction to Los Angeles.
That's California.
Okay, all right. So you're working on the Danny Kaye show?
Yes.
Are you the only writer? Is it a whole bunch of
There
writers?
are a bunch of writers.
Uh-huh.
Many of them were Sid Caesar writers. Mel Tolkien, a brilliant guy from Russia, still with the Russian accent.
Uh-huh.
Shelley Keller, who was a great friend to me.
So you're working the writer's room for Danny Kaye?
Yes.
And all good things come to an end?
Well, I left because I wanted more money, and I was quickly writing half-hour comedies. But
was that a hard transition, going from variety to
because
half
I
hours?
had to convince people I could do it. Again.
Yes.
Right. And you're no longer in the writer's room,
No. It's
batting
just,
stuff back and forth.
just me. And I
It's,
had to go in and pitch.
Right.
Which, as writers know, if you can't create a story, you're not going to make a living. A story and a joke are kind of the basics of comedy writing.
So what was your first half-hour sitcom?
Well, I had done My Favorite Martian was my first.
Oh, one of my favorite shows.
Moving into the half-hour world, seriously. I mean, energetically, you went from My Favorite Martian to
My Living Doll to Bewitched to a bunch of other shows. If I named them, nobody but a film historian would know them. But I did them. They were all jobs, and here's the key. Anytime I would go in for a pitch to get a job, I would have at least 3 storylines worked out, with maybe 2 backups just in the log line, because I didn't want to leave empty-handed. And I was good pitching it, because I'd done my homework, and I'd been a performer, and every writer is really selling himself or herself. That is our commodity. We sell us first. What we do comes with it, so we have to do a good job of it.
Of those hundreds of shows you did, tell me the worst experience you had as a writer on those half-hour shows.
We don't have long enough. There was this guy who's a theatrical manager. He thinks he's funny. He really would like to be a stand-up. And he wanted to meet me because I had a reputation for being funny. And also because my partner was a legendary funny guy, Pat McCormick.
Sure.
A man who, when he joined the Danny Kaye show, came in late to the writer's room, dragging 300 feet of toilet paper on one shoe. This was his way of saying, hi, there's new life in the room. A guy who also, when he was a space salesman for Parade magazine, picked up a wino, gave him his business card, sent him up to the office of an advertising agency and said, "Here's $5, be me for 10 minutes." Anyway, he had to meet with me for one of the shows that he managed to get on the air because of his connections. And he was there doing his act for me. And I watched politely. I knew it wasn't going to work because I had a competitor. So he hired me only to kill my project.
Got it.
Twice. And then I didn't show up anymore.
What's the very best writing experience you've ever had?
Bewitched was always great because Bill Asher loved me, Liz loved me.
So what was Liz Montgomery like to work with?
He was great. And Bill Asher was wonderful.
And you also did a lot of work for Aaron Spelling. Tell us about that.
Aaron was terrific. First time I got a job with Aaron was with Starsky and Hutch, a show I never watched. Watched it once, wasn't
And
that
that's not a half-hour comedy.
No, it's an hour drama. By then I'd moved over to hour drama. But I changed agents, and one of the new agents knew Joe Narr, who was the producer. I came in, and Joe Narr says, "You give me any premise, you got a job."
Wow.
So I gave him a premise. "How soon can you have it?" I said, "Immediately. Immediately." So I did it like in 2 days.
You are a really fast writer
I'm
compared
very
to most.
fortunate. It's essential if you're going to write for television. Because television is, we got to have it yesterday because something fell out. And if you can deliver that and it's good, so when people say, "Do you want it good or do you want it Tuesday?" I want it Tuesday and I want it good. There is no either or. But I did like 19 pilots for Aaron, or I rewrote pilots for him.
Fantasy Island?
I did Fantasy Island. I did 57 Fantasy Islands.
Wow.
Yeah.
They must have liked you.
The plane. I should tell you my Hervé Villachet story. He played
Please
Tattoo.
do.
But I was lucky in a way because I had had dwarf friends before. Michael Dunn was my friend. And then Billy Barty was my friend.
Wait, you had dwarf friends?
Yes.
Real dwarf friend?
Yes.
Okay.
I always feel that if you're a Jew and you have a dwarf for a friend,
You're
they're
covered.
Not
You're
going to
covered.
call the Jew card on you. Anyway, Michael Dunn was a great guy,
Okay.
and Billy Barty was a delightful guy. He was great fun, and I admired his furniture collection, the Billy Barty collection. How many people know that he made a line of little people furniture?
I didn't know
Very
that.
successful.
Is it available on Amazon, do you think?
Yes, they have the inflatable variety, and you, with an air pump, you blow it up to your size. So Hervé's on the set, of course, he's always on the set, and Sheikh Al-Fassi, famous as the Beverly Hills Sheikh, who bought a property on Sunset, lined it up with nude statues, and painted their genitals.
It was
deep-
famous here.
Right. Famous.
Right. Tourist attraction.
He and his son visited the set of Fantasy Island. And of course, there were Polynesian maidens that opened the show.
I was one of them.
Were you really?
Suzanne was...
Lava girl.
Oh boy.
Suzanne was a lava girl.
Terrific. Sheikh Al-Fassi and his son, French was really their most comfortable language, so they're chatting with Hervé. And they say to Hervé, "These Polynesian maidens look interesting. We'd like to take 2 of them to Las Vegas and get married. Would you join us and be our best man?" Hervé joined them. They went to Las Vegas.
Suzanne, did you go to Vegas with Hervé Villachet?
I missed that.
You missed that trip?
And
Okay.
Sheikh and Sheikh Jr. married the girls.
Wow.
And Hervé said it was a touching ceremony. I bet there was a lot of touching. This may be a tradition in certain lands. You know,
Yes.
these cultural distinctions, we have to be big enough to accept them.
They certainly kept that hush-hush.
Yes. Anyway, well, he divorced her in the traditions of his people. I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. Get lost. And Hervé said, "Well, these kind of love matches seldom last." Let me just comment on one thing.
Sure.
About how it's necessary for a writer to be able to make the appropriate presentation to sell him or herself before the possibility of getting a job begins. When I was very hot in the business, I get a call at midnight from 2 producers. "We're in Arrowhead." I said, "So you're calling me at midnight?" "We're in Arrowhead because we're doing 2 Chevrolet specials. And the stars of both of them are Zero Mostel and Burgess Meredith." They said, "Zero won't do the scripts. He says they're shit. Can you come here immediately? We have a table read in the morning at 10. So we drove out to Arrowhead. Get there about 2 in the morning, and the producers are waiting in the dining room of the hotel, you know, hands trembling, sweating, and saying, Again, he's adamant. He won't do the scripts. He says they're shit. Would you just read it and fix it and be there tomorrow morning at 10 down there, that table? I said, sure. And we get back to the room and Val says to me, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'll look at the scripts quickly. She said, aren't you going to write it? I said, no, there's no point. What are you going to do? I said, I'll work it out. Next morning at 10 o'clock, I looked at the script. I get down there, and Zero Mostella's waiting. We're sitting there, and he says, is this the genius that's going to save us? And I said, yes, that's moi. He said, really? Well, what are you going to do? What's the problem with these scripts? I said, there are no Romanians in them. The producers clutch their chest, and Zero goes, Romanians, brilliant! This is the man. Whatever he says, I'll do. He bought it because he bought me, as understanding what his problem was. There was nothing in there that he could do that would make him feel comfortable.
Right.
And if he wasn't comfortable, Burgess wasn't going to be comfortable. Now, Burgess Meredith was a marvelous actor and an unusual guy because his mind worked in different mechanisms than ours. You would say, how are you, Burgess? He'd say, February. And to him, it meant something.
So you transitioned from many years of freelance work. How did you get into animation?
Well, I'd always loved animation, any kind of animation. And what happened was that Hasbro had a talent search in Los Angeles to find a writer, not a writer of animation. They were considered bimbos. Those who wrote for animation, they were not considered writers of quality. They wanted a writer of quality to write the pilot for G.I. Joe, to introduce that line of toys. I was one of like maybe 100, 125 writers at different agencies that was interviewed. And I got them because I talked about characters. So they hired me, and it was extremely successful.
And then is that what led you to work with Stan Lee?
I met Stan Lee shortly after that by way of Lee Mendelson, who produced Peanut. And Stan and I hit it off immediately.
Is that because you guys are from the same sensibility?
It might have come off this, because it certainly happened when I was with Stan a few times. Somebody who came by, somebody semi-famous, and said, you're unbelievably successful. What do you owe your success? And Stan said, luck. He said, no, get out of here. It's not luck. I said, no. He said, believe me, I'm not kidding you. It's luck. No, it isn't. And Stan has always said that. He said, it is luck. He said, who's going to say that this event and that event are going to come together at the right moment and you're going to be the guy who gets on the cover of Time magazine?
Right.
Who says that? He said, it is luck. He said, I've had enough bad luck to know what luck is. He said, and I have had good luck. And I said, I admired that right away.
The honesty of that.
And I said, boy, that's right on the money, Stan. Right on the money.
And he's hotter than ever now.
Oh, yeah, he is.
It's unbelievable.
And I just had an email from him. He said, I love to get your emails. He said, after I read them, I have to take a nap. He said, but then I have to take a nap after I do anything. He says, when I do my appearance for that commercial for Spider-Man, when he goes, amazing. He said, I love doing that. Had to take a nap right after.
Well, he looks great. I mean,
he does look great.
Whatever he's eating, I want to eat it.
No, his mind is still brilliant.
Yeah.
We did a lot of stuff together. And he always called me in anytime he had anything to say about it.
So tell me about what's been going on with Transformers and the book you're writing.
Well, I'm writing a book called I Killed Optimus Prime, which I was compelled to do by Hasbro when I wrote The Transformers, the movie, an animated classic. A classic in Hollywood is anything that made money several years thereafter. I was forced to kill Optimus Prime and I didn't want to do it. I said, Optimus Prime is Big Daddy. He is the voice of reason. He is the go-to guy. Every kind of story creates a family of sorts. It can be a surrogate family. It can be a real family. It can be a temporary family. In other words, people assume family roles. Somebody's Big Daddy, somebody's Big Mama, somebody's the crazy uncle who flashes the school bus, somebody is the little girl who will never straighten up, but everybody loves her. And I said, we all recognize these transcendental characters. And Optimus Prime, he is the one you aspire to be most like. He's the source of good. His approval is the seal of joy and glory.
He's the anchor of the Transformers franchise, basically.
He is the anchor.
And you killed him.
And I said, you kill him, you'll be forced to resurrect him. I'm saying that right now. No, we don't. In it, I discuss not only the writing of the Transformers, I also do sort of a memoir about me. Because people who write for other people to read, and more importantly, people who write so that other people can see what they've written in some form of film or television, they have to have a background that acquaints them with the ability to show and tell what needs to be on the screen so that the hundreds of people who have to make it actually happen can do their jobs. So if you're going to write for animation, you have to be able to visualize what has to be seen and write it in such a way that the artists can reproduce it.
Kind of like being an architect.
Kind of like being an architect. That's absolutely right. Yes. And as everybody always said, doctors bury their mistakes, architects plant ivy.
Right. So as an animation writer,
yes,
you're actually writing a lot more words on a script page than you are in live action. Live action.
True.
Is it more difficult to write animation?
No, it's just you have a different obligation, which is not just to deliver the word that will be acted, but also the words that artists are going to have to realize as drawings or as characters.
So Ron, what do you think of animation?
What do I think of it?
Because it's huge.
It's become the leading box office draw.
More than that, it's respectable. It was never respectable. Right. Those that wrote animation were considered dimwits,
now.
And it was only kids and the demented that were enjoying animation.
So the book you're writing is about how you were forced to kill Optimus Prime.
Yeah, but also about how I became connected to and in love with animation, comics, and science fiction.
When is the book coming out?
As soon as I finish it, which should be momentarily.
But your book is going to be a smash.
I believe it will be because I already have people in the Transformers universe, which is vast. Stan Lee is going to write the frontispiece.
You've worn many hats.
All of them threadbare now.
And you are so good at so many things.
Thank you.
What is your favorite genre? Or can you pick one?
Well, I do like them all. And because they each give me satisfaction if I do a good job.
And you're also teaching down at Chapman.
I am teaching at Chapman and driving a lot to do that, teaching graduate courses in how to write the half-hour comedy, how to write the hour drama.
So, given that, advice to people hoping to break into the business as television or movie writers?
Start reading plays, reading novels, just reading. Start watching movies, even if they're in black and white. In other words, become conversant with the great minds of the past. Rub shoulders with them. Go to museums, look at art. Try to imagine what that meant at the time it was created. Try to see what that means to you and try to figure out how you're going to put that in words.
Do they have to move to LA to do all that?
They can do it in the privacy of their own chicken coop, thanks to modern technology. The only problem is the people that say yes or no are generally in Los Angeles. Some are in New York, a few may be elsewhere. They are hard to pin down. They are loath to say yes or no. They would much rather say no because it's less effort. And they would much rather assign the actual reading of, seeing of, connecting with artists to underlings, whom then they can choose to ignore. It's not a business where the archetypical agent of song and legend and pursues the knowledge of who's doing what and when and how. They're few and far between. If you can do it on a laptop, that's their preference. So if you can make a reel that will demonstrate your skill as anything, including a neurosurgeon, I suggest that you do it. But as far as film school goes, I look at it this way. If you're in medical school, you want to be a neurosurgeon, you're working on your first patient under the tutelage of the head of your department, and you say, "Oh shit, doctor, I've got a bleeder here, it looks like an aneurysm," and the doctor says, "Hey, I don't do aneurysms. You got in there, get yourself out. After you get out of jail, you will sue the school and the doctor." I said, but that's the equivalent of what happens in film schools to writing majors when they say, "My script sucks. What can I do about it?" Well, just think about what went wrong. Yeah, but why did it go wrong? That's your problem. I don't do that. I can't rewrite it for you. It's up to you. But does anybody ever sue and say, I was put out to the wolves unprepared? Not even a sling with a stone in it. No. So, Mrs. Worthington, don't put your daughter on the stage. Don't send your kids to film school if they're going to major in screenwriting. Here endeth the reading. I'm available for bar mitzvahs and eulogies.
Just to wrap this up,
Yes.
thank you, Ron Friedman.
It was fun, guys.
All right, thanks
It
a
was
million.
fun for me too. Thank you very much for giving me this moment of undeserved glory.
Hey, that was a lot of fun. I don't think I'll ever be able to hear the name Tony Curtis without thinking about a parrot.
Be sure to check out our website at wherehollywoodhides.com for show notes, photos, and the latest showbiz news. And please click onto our Amazon banners to take you directly to the world's largest online shopping mall. Whatever you're looking for, from books to movies to supplies, it's at Amazon.com. And the links at wherehollywoodhides.com are the quickest way to do your shopping.
Just want to thank Chance McCullough once again for his great bumper music. This particular tune is Island Livin'. You can get all of Chance's music at chancemccullough.com.